This week we ask, what exactly is a brand ambassador and who wins in the end, the brand or the personality? We'll also go behind the high-tech scenes of the launch of this new car coupe. This is Mags on Media. A very warm welcome. Alrighty, let's kick off in the print sector, and music, culture and current affairs magazine Rolling Stone has launched in South Africa, some might say finally. So who's the market for this longer form of entertainment journalism? And what is the difference, I wonder, between the local and the American edition? Miles Keelock is the editor and joins us first up on Mags on Media. I've got to say to you, this has got to be the coolest job in journalism. You must be delighted.
Unquestionably, it's a dream. You know, I mean, I think as a child, I grew up reading Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
It's what can I say? Dream come true.
Why has it taken so long to get you?
Well, I can give you the feedback that America gave us. You know, they were looking for a specific fit. You know, they found that fit. You know, and that fit is about independence. You know, it's about a cottage industry, if you like. It's about a family affair. You know, all of these kind of utopian ideals. You know, that perhaps people have swept under the carpet. You know, we're saying they're back.
It's not often that the launch of a media brand creates so much excitement. I don't know whether it's in the general public or whether it's just in the journalism community. But Miles, for the uninitiated, what is Rolling Stone? What's the DNA?
The DNA is very simple.
Yeah.
You know, since 1967, Rolling Stone has been mapping popular culture. You know, through long form, in-depth journalism. You know?
Long form, 5,000, 6,000 words plus.
Yeah, we're looking at that. You know, I think anything from 3,000 to 6,000. You know, some people would say that 1,000 is long form in South Africa. You know.
Hey, listen, if you're on Twitter these days, you know, 200 words is long form.
You can't even get 200 words on Twitter. In terms of the DNA, you know, it is about, I mean, I can quote what our founding father says, Jan Wenner. You know, he said it's about music, but it's about all that music embraces, you know. And for us, that's very important. It's an attitude. It's a way of actually celebrating life, you know, and whether you're a musician, a politician, you know, a movie star, whatever that might be. That's the DNA, you know, and it's about the real stories as well. That's important.
Well, let's talk about the real stories. The Mother brand has always, in many ways, been an agenda-setting magazine, particularly in the current affairs of the political space. Do you plan to do that here?
I think it's essential. You know, South Africa is an evolutionary democracy, if I can put it that way, you know, and change is happening on a daily basis. And that's one of the most exciting things about living in South Africa, you know. So we need to actually start talking about, you know, those conversations and maybe start generating new conversations, you know, in a different way.
The most iconic South African musician on the cover to kick off, Bra Hugh, his Rock and Roll Redemption, great headline. Why Hugh Masekela?
For us, it's simple, you know. Hugh embodies
no-brainer here.
Huh? Yeah, Hugh embodies that rock and roll ethos of the magazine, you know, and not rock as some kind of a genre, you know. What I said earlier, rock as a way of celebrating life, of living it to the fullest on his own terms, you know, and actually still discovering on a daily basis who he is. You know, that for us was a slam dunk. It was like Hugh Masekela, rock and roll, no question.
Miles, you wrote the story. Have you uncovered anything new about this man?
Wow, so much. You know, I think one of the most interesting things is, you know, his sense of humor. You know. Which often gets swept under the carpet, you know, because people, why? Because I think a lot of interviewers haven't had enough time to actually spend time with you. You know? I mean, he knows who he is, you know, and he takes no prisoners, and that's important.
It's a luxury to be able to spend time actually interviewing a subject like that in depth. It's all about the journalism, but it's also about who's doing the journalism. And ultimately, you're going to have to deliver the likes of the PJ O'Rourke's and the Hunter S. Thompsons. Within the writing pool in this country, does that talent exist?
Oh, yes, unquestionably. You know, I think what's been fascinating for me on an editorial side is actually reanimating some of the careers of some of those writers who fall into that framework that you're talking about. You know,
such as?
Quite simply, Bongani Madondo. You know, he has one of our most talented journalists, you know, investigative arts and culture journalist, you know, who's pretty much been put on the back burner and cannot get a job. You know, now, for me, that's one big question mark that gets raised. You know, people like that. You know, people like Rian Milan. You know, he also needs a voice. You know, people like Kevin Bloom, people like Kwanyele Sesibo, who currently works for the Mail and Guardian. You know, but doesn't have enough space to write what he needs to write. You know, In issue 2, all of these writers are going to be cornerstones going forward.
Okay, one easy question, and the question that every editor hates. The easy question is, who's going to read it? The one that you're not going to like is, who you're competing with. First one first.
Okay, who's going to read it?
Yeah.
Quite simply, anyone who has a passion for what I've been talking about.
Yeah.
Music, yes, but everything that music embraces. From 16 years old right through to 60. Music, after all, is, I mean, it's just a state of mind. You know, we can't tag any age group to that. The second question, competition. Maybe I'll be diplomatic, you know, and say that, you know, we try not to focus on the competition. We've got a fantastic opportunity here, you know, to create something new, and that's what we're focusing on.
You've had your first edition is out. What did the US of A say? Do they like what you've done?
Thumbs up. You know, they're excited. I mean, if I can just share something on a personal tip, you know, when we went over to speak to them, and it was literally a conversation, you know, there wasn't a pitch. You know, we literally chatted over a series of days, you know. And after that chat, they said one thing to us: we love your passion. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Nothing wrong with a bit of passion. I wish you well. It's a great title, it's a wonderful brand, and may the long-form journalism continue. We certainly need it in this country. Miles Keelock, thank you so much for joining us. So what do you think, and are you going to buy the magazine? By the way, it's got a cover price of $34.95, call it 35 Rand. It is a buy, it is expensive, and it does compete with other titles. It also competes with things like airtime. So have a look at it and leave your impressions on our Facebook page, please.